Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and I'm on a mission to spread peace, love, and positivity through music. Today I'll be reacting to Grateful Dead for the very first time, and I'm sure you're immediately asking yourself, Sohum, how have you made it 27 years without having listened to the Grateful Dead? I mean, not at all. I don't even know a single song from the Grateful Dead, and I've heard their name all over the place. So it, begs the question, why haven't you listened to them before? I don't have any good answers, guys. I mean, none of the answers I do have would be satisfactory to you. I think what makes the most sense is just to fix the issue here today. Let's listen to them. Let's hear what they're all about. I'm excited to check it out. A big thank you goes to Jason, whose generous support and request made this reaction possible. And in doing this request, Jason actually let me know that the songs we'll be listening to today are not actually the most popular Grateful Dead songs. You could say they're a bit of the deeper cuts. So I don't know what to expect, but as always, I'm excited to jump in. This performance was from 1974 in Portland, Oregon, of all places. So that's the stage, that's the setting, that's the context. Let's jump in. Got the blues, I think. Even though they're a rock band. Truckin. How many singers are singing? I hear two for sure. Is there a third? I think three. I think there's a mid harmony and a lower harmony. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's on the same street. Your typical city involved in a typical daydream. It's very like light and bouncy. Very bouncy. Most of the cats you meet on the streets become true love. Most of the time they're sitting there crying and moan. One of these days they better be going out of the door and down to the street all alone. Drunken like the two-love man once told me you got to play your hand. Sometimes the cards ain't worth the dime if you don't lay 'em down. I was just going to point out that the bass is doing so much work, and it's like almost hard for me to like pick out the bass from the mix because of how bouncy everything is. I just feel like the rhythm is carrying me forward and this like good air breezy vibe that I'm getting. But during that mini guitar solo, you can hear distinctly the bass and the way the counter melody fits amongst this mix. Let me go back a little bit. Listen for the bass. Wow, it's interesting. It's like a moment of a bit of a darker harmony. Lost her sparkle, she's the same. Living on resin, vitamin C, and cocaine. Well, a friend can say. It's like these high guitars are way up top, the voice is in the middle, the bass is below. Like typical, living on resin, vitamin C, and cocaine. Well, a friend can say, ain't it a shame? Drunken, up to papa. trying to digest all of this. It's so different.
Just keep chugging.
Feels like blues, but I could also be boogie maybe.
Got a tip, they're gonna kick the door in again.
Feels more blues.
I'd like to get some sleep before I travel, but if you got a warrant, I guess you're gonna come in. Busted down above the street, set up like a bowling pin, knocked down.
Ooh, I like that.
Just won't let you be. No. You're sick of hanging around.
You know, I didn't expect us to be in 4/4. For some reason, the meter feels a little bit more complicated than that. Or I guess, would it be the tempo? I'm mixing up all of my music theory knowledge and terminology. Also, I was questioning here why the flower like crown on the skeleton. Is that their like brand, the skeletons? Kind of reminds me of like Cinco de Mayo. Reminds me of the movie Coco a bit.
I guess they can't provoke yourself for trying. Get out of the door and look around. Sometimes the lights all shining on me. Well, at times I can barely see.
I think it's two singers now. Changed my opinion. Huh. Really fun riffs. Vocally and the guitar. This singer's adding some intensity. Truckin' on, like keep going, right? Truckin'. Like the ad-libs. Oh. Playing with the vocal dynamics there. You got quieter, right? And I'm fairly certain this is like a jam session through and through. So like whatever the original version of Trucking is, probably is also different than what we're hearing now. This seems more, this section at least feels very like improv-y and leaving space for potential solos to come. We'll see if that happens. So far, so good. I like this. It's a fun vibe. Makes me want to work on my truck that I don't have. And take up surfing. Or maybe golfing. I could never be a golfer. The dissonance there and the wow, that's cool. Whoa. Oh. It's like the solo is falling apart here. This is wild. The hi-hat. No. We gotta go back and understand how that transition happened. Ding, ding, just 2 notes. And we're in lockstep now, on a different path. This is... I was gonna say earlier, sorry for pausing so much, by the way. This is just the only way I can get across my thoughts here today. Earlier when the guitar solo was soloing, before we got to those like distended falling apart riffs like I was mentioning, it sounded to me a bit like trumpet in the way, in the phrasing, in a bit of the actual, the timbre of what we heard. It felt trumpety, it felt brass, which, you know, if you were playing in a jazz band, you would expect that sound. But the fact that this isn't a jazz band specifically, this is more of like a blues. That's my current guess, blues / jazz. It's interesting that the guitar produced a trumpet-like sound. This is this is so different than what I'm used to. I like it. I can't say that this is what I would want to play, but I could listen to this. I like when I can like settle into a groove. Pulled it back. There's super wide open space now. Are we still in Truckin? There's no YouTube chapters here to tell me. It's like we're in a holding pattern right now, but I don't know the destination. I don't know how to bob my head right now. In the last 10 seconds, I feel like I could do it quickly, or I could do it like at a infrequent cadence. You bounce it quickly to the drum. Or maybe to the guitar riff. Or to the bass line. What's the appropriate headbanging technique now? What's the etiquette? I don't understand this, but I like this. Feels very fluid. if I didn't know any better and just took like the naive, like coward's way out, I would almost assume that each of these like individual instruments, if you just like ripped apart this mix and then just copy and pasted each of these layers into a different song, that each of these parts would go into a different song. It almost feels like they don't belong together, but somehow all of their energies match nearly identically. Strangely enough, it's not like they're all landing on the same note at the same time. It's more of like the fluidity within which they ride these performances and songs. It doesn't feel like all of these parts are like Lego blocks that stick onto each other nice. It feels more like, I don't know, what's like like Play-Doh maybe, or Silly Putty. What are one of those like slime toys kids play with these days? Maybe something like that, but it's very fluid. You can kind of put any parts together and it would make sense. Even though it kind of doesn't make sense. Although I'm willing to accept that I don't know much about this genre. You hear the bass getting louder. Right in the middle there. I gotta ask, how do you guys listen to this music? And I'm not asking like, how do you listen to this like it's crap? I'm asking like, when you listen, are you paying attention to one instrument at a time and you just pick that instrument and you stick with it throughout the track? Or are you just listening to whatever instrument is like currently vying for your attention? Because for me, it's more of the latter, where the drums will kick up in a moment and I'll pay attention to that, and then I'll immediately be taken by the bass or immediately be dragged by the guitar or the vocals. It just feels like it's hard for me to like hold on to one instrument unless I strictly force myself to just think about what the guitar is doing. That's why I asked the question, how do you listen? How? Literally, like, give me the tools. Help me figure this out. Like two distinct guitar melodies happening, and I guess have been happening with that bass. How are they on the same page right now? It's beautifully chaotic. Felt an energy change. I think I need to be high to listen to this to help slow everything down. but I'm starting to like... I'm starting to ride these waves better, I feel like. Oh, that amp getting put through it. I gotta say, I love the second guitar's tone the most. It's very smooth. You know, interestingly too, there's like I have a very hard time like pointing out the song structure here. You know, it's not a very typical, you know, verse, pre-chorus, chorus kind of song. This is a just fluid, moving, dynamic beast. But even like picking where the transitions are happening when they change their energy, like I noted before, it is hard to even pinpoint the specific moment unless I really slow it down and like find the one or two notes that lend me to believe that the section has changed, or you feel like instruments are literally dropping out, things get quieter in an obvious way. Unless those things happen, it doesn't feel obvious to me at all. Everything is so gradual, the ramping on, the ramping off, the adding of instruments, the removing of instruments, the adding of notes, the changing in rhythms. It's so fluid, man. Grateful Dead, fluidity. I don't know if that adjective means what I think it means, but I think it maps on. And fluidity would be the noun, fluid the adjective. The second guitar is doing some interesting stuff here. You hear the first guitar doing the plucking here. But it's like the guitar one, guitar two, the bass, they're all playing three different melodies. It's so hard to manage. This section's like falling apart. That's cool. Reminds me of that falling apart solo a bit. It's like melodically very chromatic here somehow, but it still sounds so beautiful. The guitar is ascending and the underlying melody is descending. With these sharp amp sounds. It almost feels like this is just such a random comparison, but if you've ever watched Jurassic Park and you hear the loud squawking of the one of like the pterodactyls, I think, or just some dinosaur with a loud squawking sound, you hear it in the distance and it echoes. It almost feels like the first guitar, the higher pitched guitar, is doing that like squawking, and like some other like more bassy, earthy dinosaur is responding with his own, not squawk, I guess that would be some other kind of sound that is being produced. It's like a different kind of call and response is all I'm trying to say. Ta-da! Is the pterodactyl. And these lower guitars are the ground dinosaurs. I don't even know where we're at right now. Okay, we're going to end it right there. Whew. There you have it. That's the Grateful Dead. I feel so many things. One thing that immediately comes to my mind is I feel like I got thrown into the deep end. And who knows, maybe for the Grateful Dead, this is actually a relatively shallow end. I don't know. I don't have the experience to say. All I can say is so much of that, I'm sure, went right over my head in terms of understanding, in terms of composition, in terms of the way the instruments are interacting with each other, the structure of the song, the kinds of motifs each guitar and instrument like to play. There's so many minor questions that I have that I'll just only be able to answer through more Grateful Dead experience. Let me know how I did in the comments down below. I feel like this is the kind of music that I initially, like earlier in my life, I was very averse to listening to it, as well as even trying to play it myself, with not the exact sentiment of this isn't music and I'm not going to play it. More so like this isn't what I prefer to listen to or really just understand all that well. So I'm just going to spend more time into what I'm listening to. That was my mentality back in the day. Now I have more of an open mind as it relates to listening to more music. I would still think playing something like this would take me, oh, there goes my camera, would take me definitely a lot of time to get the bearings straight. Only through playing, though, would I think would I be able to truly understand what I'm listening to, is part of my takeaway today. But the Grateful Dead, they they dominate in that beautiful chaos. It seems like there are let's see, how many instrumentalists? There's a singer, maybe a second singer, but I assume he's playing another instrument. So we'll say one specific singer, one lead, then one guitarist, or sorry, two guitarists, one bassist, a drummer. That's 5. And maybe you have another player playing the organ or something like that. So 6. Seems like 6 is the right number, but let me know if I'm on target with that or not. So many things I need to understand about Grateful Dead, and I still have little and ways of answering those questions that I have. I guess one thing too is like when I listen to, the Grateful Dead for that 19-minute spell there, so much of what I heard earlier on in the track has like fully ejected itself from my mind. And I think it's just a lot to retain on a first listen. It feels like I would need to listen to like this 19-minute chunk in like 2 to 3 minute portions to fully understand each individual section. So it also makes me think, well, why not just listen to it all in one shoot and then derive understanding that way and work, deductively or inductively, whichever one of those two is correct. A lot for me to do, a lot of homework, but I appreciate y'all sticking with me until the end here. Thank you, Jason, for the request today. I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Subscribe, you all, if you did, and if you'd like to request one yourself, hit the link down below. And as always, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.